Solomoni, Solomon, isoja nomkhonto wesizwe owabulawa eAfrika isoja wesizwe owabulawa uSolomoni Solimathan
but just allow the regional secretary of the ANC in Ethekwini to read the media statement post the RC meeting, and then you take a set of hands for clarity seeking questions if there are any. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Londi. Good day to everyone, to the members of the media, the public, and members of the African National Congress. We would like to welcome all of you to this first media conference, as this was the elected executive committee for the biggest region in South Africa. Yesterday, we met for the first time as the regional executive committee to deliberate on a number of issues that affect the city, our communities, and the organization. We decided to hold this press conference to make a public statement on things that we believe are paramount importance. We choose Inanda because it's a birthplace of our first president, J.L. Dube, who founded Ohlanga and Ilanga newspaper. We are reconnecting with our heritage, and this place is rich with history and heritage, but we will hold more programs in this community. Former President Nelson Mandela voted for the first time here on the 27th April 1994. So tomorrow marks the 28 years since he walked around this place to vote for the first time after spending 27 years in prison. We want to use this opportunity to deal with the following issues: our response to the recent floods, our program of action, step-aside policy implementation, our approach toward the provincial conference, alignment of council with the REC. On the issues of flood that are affecting community, firstly, we would like to convey our deepest condolences to all the families who have lost their loved ones during these devastating floods. We hope God will grant you strength during this difficult period. We encourage religious leaders to provide spiritual guidance to the bereaved families. We are encouraged that social workers have been assigned by the government to offer much needed counseling. This is the area that is needed extra important, as the emotional wounds inflicted to the communities will take many years to heal. We want to appreciate communities, municipality workers, and individuals for rising to the occasion by assisting those who needed to be rescued. We appreciate your efforts deeply. In this regard, we also wish to express our appreciation to all Samaritans, community organizations, Amakosi, interfaith leaders, and the private sector for extending a helping hand. We see you there and appreciate all the effort you have done. We must acknowledge our Premier, Sihle Zikalala, for his commitment together with his cabinet. From the first day, they have been on the ground. We also appreciate the escalate by Comrades Policy Kawunda for working around. Once again, our municipality officials have outdone themselves by working hard in rebuilding infrastructure, especially in trying to restore water and electricity. Our roads and bridges are being fixed by our own workers. Importantly, we would like to thank President Cyril Ramaphosa and his cabinet for their dedication and for their spirit in responding to this national disaster that left a trail of destruction. It is through the hard work of all spheres of ANC government that we are seeing some resemblance of normality. Critically, we also appreciate Isilo Samabanda, Ubayeto Misisol, for being with his people during this crisis. The fact that His Majesty decided to postpone his historical coronation is a sign of bold leadership. As the new leadership, we pledge our support to His Majesty, and we would like to work with him in restoring the order and stability in our community. We will appreciate his wisdom and guidance as we rebuild our city to its former glory, City Bayete. We want to use this opportunity to condemn the killings of the municipality employee who was driving a water tanker. In this regard, we wish to convey the heartfelt condolences to the family and her colleagues. On the issues of the regional program of action, the region has adopted a clear program of action, which is informed by the conference declaration. We will be working toward unity of the region and province toward 2024 election. We will be driving a serious membership recruitment drive and end the gatekeeping. We will be running political classes and inductions in line with the renewal program of the agency. We will be help to rebuild our leads MKVA in order to deal with the welfare of our military veterans. We will improve service delivery, especially in delivering water, electricity, and ensuring adequate supply of energy. We will strengthen our working relationship with all political parties in order to have a stable council. We will be working closer with Amakosi and religious leader and rebuild trust with Nazareth Baptist Church. On the issues of unity, the unity is the foundation of the ANC. Without the unity, we will have no organization. Our task will be to unite the ANC and end pre-conference groupings and work as a one region. In keeping with the spirit of unity, the REC yesterday have co-opted Comrade Tabane Nyawose and Comrade Nolubabalo Mthembu as the members of the REC. And on the issues of the appointment of the portfolios, the following comrades have been appointed to serve on the Regional Working Committee. Comrade Zandile Kumete, Comrade Tembo Ntuli, Comrade Musangigi, Comrade Tosente Madala, Comrade Zosha Balala, Comrade Umesi Tole, Comrade Monica Chama, Comrade Sfisom Kize, Comrade Simpiwe Blose, Comrade Pilimbata. The REC further appointed Comrade Mlondolo Zimkize as its spokesperson. On the step aside policy of the ANC, on the issue of step aside, we wish to make the following pronouncement. Delegates using their democratic right enriched in the ANC constitution elected Comrades Zandile Kumete and Comrade Zosha Balala. This despite the step aside policy of the ANC National Executive Committee. In this regard, we wish to indicate that Comrade Tembontuli will act on behalf of the chairperson, and the secretariat will be dealing with the finance committee to carry out the responsibilities of the treasurer since they are still on step aside. On government and Ethekwini Council, we are of the view that all effort must be made to strengthen the service delivery and ensure that there is a partnership between Ethekwini municipality, captains of the industry, private sector, ratepayers association, and the public at large. We will create a conducive relation with all parties and leaders of political parties, as we understand that they represent the aspiration of those who voted. Therefore, the ANC has an obligation to work with leaders of political parties in Ethekwini to improve service delivery. In strengthening the lines of the communication and working relation between Ethekwini municipality and new REC, we have decided that we should immediately implement the following decision. Comrade Kosente Madala will now be deployed as a whip of the ESCO in Ethekwini. We also decided to support the resolution of the council regarding the issue of the appointment of the city manager. We'll be entrusting our councillor leadership that task of ensuring that this process is completed soon. We want stability in both administration and political leadership, cohesiveness, and sustained strong relationship with all political parties is crucial in order to deliver services to the residents of the Ethekwini. On the issues of economy, our city faced with the high unemployment, especially young women and youth in general. Our most serious of challenge have remained that of grinding poverty and unemployment, exacerbated by the external economic conditions. Therefore, the provision of decent jobs and ensuring inclusive in economy through radical economic transformation will characterize our new term of office. Of course, working with the province and the country. Road to a provincial conference. We will be working with our structures toward the provincial conference. Our focus will be to see a balanced structure that will help and work with us in rebuilding the organization. Our last election performance is not good. Therefore, the new leadership will have to be led by the activists with energy to win the province and also unite the movement. We want a leadership that will help us to rebuild the economy, which has been affected by the COVID-19 and the recent floods. We want a leadership that will rekindle relations with the alliance partners, religious organizations, Amakos, especially the royal household. We will be engaging with other regions in order to lobby and engage so that we can emerge as a united province. We will be persuading other regions to maintain our two positions within the officials of the province, and these names will be taken to the branches for further engagement. On the funeral service of Comrade Fundo Mkwena, once again, we want to express our appreciations on the comrades who were able to attend the funeral of the departed youth leader, Comrade Fundo Mkwena. His death left us shocked, and we would like to encourage those with the information to approach the state agencies. As the ANC and the Ethekwini region, we further call upon all ANC volunteers to continue to mobilize communities to stand up against any form of crime. We must intensify the fight against crime in all its manifestations, from unacceptable level of murders, assault, robberies, drugs, distribution of hunger, to domestic violence. The culture of impunity should not be tolerated in this region. Once again, we send our condolences to the families and friends, colleagues of those who laid to rest this past weekend. Amanda.
I don't know whether there will be people who will be interested to ask questions, or we agree that the regional secretary was proper. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. We will 4. Let's take 5. We'll take 5, then we'll open the last set. We'll request that we introduce ourselves and then the media houses and ask a question. And thanks.
Thanks so much. My name is I'm a journalist at News 24. My question for the leadership is just, obviously with the flooding, it's been a very major thing that's happened, the third major event in 3 years in KZN. There's obviously been a lot of criticism of the Premier, of the Ethekwini leadership in the municipality in terms of the infrastructure, what has been done with monies in previous years with that infrastructure. The mayor hasn't really commented on that. I've asked him, a lot of other journalists have asked him about that. Just what is your take, as the Ethekwini leadership in terms of the ANC and how the flooding has been handled in previous years, how it will be handled, this year? Is there any sort of
policy changes that you're making or any communication that you've had with leadership in Ethekwini and the province? Thank you. And maybe also if you have any response to, the issue of the water tanker with the Premier, obviously a hot button issue. Just what are your thoughts on that one? Thanks.
Thank you. Ubongan Kinagwekaka CFM. Nopala, I would like to know, I hear your pronouncement saying you want a new active leadership in the coming provincial conference. Has the region come out yet with the two names that it will still be taking to the branches for discussion? Do you mind disclosing those names? Also, does that mean that you're no longer happy with the current leadership and therefore you believe that you need a new active leadership to lead the province?
Hi, it's Corinda from Newsroom Africa. The ANC step-aside policy, should this change, wherein it stipulates that those facing corruption charges cannot stand for elected positions, and if this must be revoked, what would the reaction be from Ethekwini branch should this policy change?
My name is Vusi Makosini, SABC. I've got 3 questions, but some of those questions have been covered by my colleagues. The first one, you spoke about that the type of leadership that you want to be elected in the provincial conference. Do you think somehow there was not enough that was done by this current leadership so to save the ANC to what we saw that the decline in support? Do you think that there might have been some lack of activity or commitment or whatever that led to the ANC declining its support? Secondly, you spoke about the issue of a whip in Ethekwini. Has that issue been maybe your proposal? Is it the proposal, or it has been maybe a decision that has been taken by the REC in consultation with the PEC of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal? Secondly, what's your view on the step aside? Do you think going to the national conference of the ANC, do you think that you might lobby for the step aside to continue as it is in current form, or you think that maybe you want the ANC to do away with this step aside?
Ngiyabonga igama usipha amandla konke kwa ENCA ngikhave ubongani kina novusi Makhosini.
Thank you very much. On the question asked by Kevin around the 3 major events, yeah, we deliberated upon this as the REC because we realized that the Ethekwini economy has faced 3 major catastrophes. One in the form of your COVID-19, 2 in the form of your July unrest, and then now the floods. So we did deliberate upon that, and some of the proposals that we are putting forward are precisely in that context. The criticism around the handling of the money allocated for these disasters, I think some of it is justified when you look at the previous cases wherein you'll find that there will be allegations of corruption here and there in terms of the handling of, especially around the issues of COVID-19. There were allegations abound in terms of that. So people out there would be justified to think that maybe that might be repeated going forward. But look, some of it has been unfair, I must say. First of all, in terms of, fortunately, myself and the deputy chair here are also part of the Ethekwini Council. So we know for a fact that there hasn't been any money that has been allocated to Ethekwini to deal with the issue of floods. There hasn't been any new money that has arrived. We've had pronouncements from different spheres of government, but there hasn't been any money. And in terms of what the city has done so far, we think they've done very well. As the statement has said, we duly thank the president for the quick response. He was prompt in coming down with the army of ministers to inspect the damage, to assure the citizens that the government cares and government is here to help. The premier also led his MECs and members of parliament. They came down to inspect the damage, to console those who are in mourning and all of that. But in terms of budget allocations and all of that, we want to assure the people of Ethekwini that no money has been mishandled yet, because no money has been allocated yet. The city has been using its own resources to deal with unblocking roads, reconnecting people to electricity and all of that. And going forward, these proposals that we've been making are going to ensure that whatever gets allocated gets spent where it's supposed to get spent. In terms of the water tank Asaka, I think it was a lot has been said about it. The premier has issued an official apology around that, and for us, we think the matter ends there. If there's anything beyond that, I think the provincial executive committee, where the premier accounts, will be in a good place to respond to that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, comrade. I want to respond from the question asked by Ubongan Kina. If we have named those two people, unfortunately not. We have make it clear that we still have to go and engage with branches. But what we know, when we're going toward the conferences, we've got our documents that are guiding us of how we approach the conferences. You know, there is a founding document called Through the Eye of the Needle that we normally used. Then it will guide us of how we lobby. Hence, we have said that as a structure, we'll have to go and lobby other structures, and we're still gonna go on branches and lobby those structures until we come up with names. So that's what will be able to guide us. But in due course, we'll be able to pronounce those names once we completed to engage with branches. On the issue of step aside, I think step aside issues, it's a national issue. As an ANC and a unitary organization, we will wait for the instruction and the guidance from the national leadership of how we approach this issue of step aside. But so far, we've followed all the processes that were given to us on how we deal with the issues of step aside. Hence, you see only 3 of us here, and the 2 of us are not here. Including in the structure, they are also not participating because they are respecting the decision of the NEC on the step aside rule.
Thank you. Greeting to everyone. Thambe, let me start on the issue of step aside, because there were 2 questions there. I think the first one was on the approach, and the other one was on also on our view going toward the national conference. Now, the way we do things in our movement doesn't allow us to give positions on issues but not going to the conference. When we go toward the conference, after having session with our own branches and the province, we'll formulate a position on that one. For now, we end it there. On the issue of the question whether the issue of the voters that have voted us, and I heard that they have dropped. Does it mean, Tina, we believe, is it because of the lack of leadership in the province? No, it's not that. There are so many issues that can make the people of the republic not to vote when it's come to the election. It not only come and end to the leadership of the province on that matter. The other one, yeah, I think those were the only two questions that I think were left. If I've left anyone, then we'll take it from there. Thank you.
I think we'll take follow-ups. I see that there are still hands. And then number 1, number 2, number 3. Thanks.
Kumalo from SABC News. My question goes to the Unobala. If you can just expand on your attempts to extend an olive branch to the losing side pre-conference. I know that you did say you have made attempts to co-opt some of the leaders. If you can just expand on that, what formed that basis? Just that. And also, if you can just, if you may, we just you to have you on record to say if the current leadership of the council, how safe are they, including the mayor and other office bearers? Are they safe from you guys? Because it seems like they're just tree without roots. You are the roots of the ANC in the region. Thanks.
Siphamandla konke kwa ENCA uVusikhumalo sengikhavile kulo munye umbuzo kodwa ke asingene sigxile kule ama position amabili for a provincial conference. Currently eThekwini as a provincial secretary and a provincial treasurer. I know you are very evasive in terms of the names. You don't want to disclose that, but let's talk about the positions. Do you want to retain those two positions as a Ethekwini region? Provincial treasurer and provincial secretary. Not the names, the positions. Or you want to have two positions, it doesn't matter which positions. Be it the chair, any two positions within the top 5. That's number 1. Let me follow up on what Vusikhumalo has asked. Is Thabani Nyawase safe as the Speaker of Ethekwini? You have started with the Chief Whip, or should I say with the Whip? Sorry. Is Thabani Nyawase safe? Number 2, or number 3 rather, the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has been heavily criticized for the way it has handled the issue of the Nazareth Baptist Church. Your statement mentions something about reconnecting with the church. How so? What is it that you are going to do? The church has been crying out loud for you to assist them in their difficulties over a number of years, but you've been accused of missing in action. Number 2, the ANC has been accused of mishandling the issue of the Zulu royal household, particularly the king that you have just acknowledged now, King Misuzulu Kazwelithini. Do you think the ANC erred in the way it handled the issue of the king and the Nazareth Baptist Church? And do you think that contributed to you losing support in some sections and quarters of KwaZulu-Natal? Thank you.
Mine is just a follow-up question. I'm not sure whether one of my questions was answered on the issue of whip. Is that a decision that has been taken by REC in consultation with the PEC, or is still a proposal?
No, but
No, thanks, for Kumalo. I think there is a tradition and a culture in the organization of the ANC. Although the ANC is a democratical organization, but once the leadership is elected, the leadership is obliged to embrace everyone. Equal, so the members as well must be able to rally behind the leadership. So in that case, we are post-conference now. When we look at the comrade, if we're to call it extending the olive branch, but we look at the quality of comrade and see if we want to embark on the project of unity, who or which comrade that must be invited into this project of unity, because that's what we want to embark on. And if there are qualities with Comrade Tabane, which will be able to assist the organization in rolling out this program of unity, so Tabane must be invited. Tabane must be part of that program. So those are part of the reason that we said when we were discussing, this is where gaps are. And we must comrade to close these gaps in order to support the program that we want to embark on. So that's what we have done with the issue of Comrade Tabane. And we were asked that how safe Comrade Tabane is as a speaker. No. Tabane is not only a speaker now, he's an RC member. He's very safe. We must assure you he's very safe. No, it's very safe. There was also another question that talked to other comrades that hold position within the council. As we have said this previously, that we will be leading and overseeing what comrades are doing. What we expect from everyone will be more of the mutual respect. Mutual respect, consultation, then I don't see any problem. Once we lack that line of communication, then there will be a problem. Then we'll discuss and engage with the leadership on what steps need to be taken. But provided that there's a mutual respect, we'll continue in a very good manner as we are continuing now. I think those were two questions that I said I wanted to to respond to it. Then there's another one that talk to the issues of name or issues of position. No, we said we want two positions in the officials, irregardless of what we are holding now. It can be any position, but two positions in the officials as a Ethekwini region, in proportion into the size of our region. We believe that other regions will take cognizance of that we are a biggest region, and they will need to give us that space. We'll lobby them on toward that one.
Let me deal with this part. There is a question about the whip of council, the whip of ESCO, because the whip of council is myself. Sorry, don't confuse the two. Yeah. In an organization that we are in as a African National Congress, when it's come to the deployment of subcommittees of the municipality, be it the deputy chairs and the chairs of committees and the rest, it's done by the region. And most, if not every time, when you make a deployment on someone that will whip the structure, you also want to make sure every time that you align that with the structure that is in the office and make it a point that you don't confuse the way the organization work. Madlala is a deputy secretary of the ANC in the region, and being a member of ESCO, it's then easier to do what we were talking about, the issue of alignment, and also to make it a point, it's easier to whip ESCO. By the way, being the whip of ESCO, it's not something that is too much. It's something that you do to coordinate and make it a point that the alignment with the organization is easier. On the last one, I will leave that one in between, but I will just speak mostly on the issue of us as the ANC handling the issue of the Royal House. Look, man, from all what has been done by our provincial leadership, in a form of premier and also our organization, we have done what we're supposed to do. Because the issue of Royal House at first is the issue that has got to do with issues of the family at the beginning. We as an organization need to give support and make it a point with anyone that get appointed as per the process that is internal to it. We support that person. We didn't did any interference on that process. And I think we have done it well and correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe to amplify the point that the chair has just made, we are a region in Ethekwini, and we have many amakosi that are running different chieftaincies within Ethekwini. And as a region, we've always had a very good relationship with all of them, either through the traditional house within the municipality or through our interaction as an organization. And we want to maintain that. And in maintaining that, we also want to link that up with the Royal House itself. I think in terms of the Royal House, especially Isilo Sanda Kotama, we as a region, we had a very good relationship with him, especially since the Queen Mother is buried within our region. You all know that we even built a museum around the grave of Queen Tomo here at the Greater Katamena area. And we've always enjoyed a very good relationship with Ungangezwelak. You remember that in 2016, when the leadership was elected, they made a pilgrimage to the Royal House, and they were hosted by Ungangezwelak. Now, that is the relationship that we want to rekindle, especially since during the transition period, Isilo, Sakotama, and we are just about to inaugurate Isilo Esisha. Now, we are the new regional leadership, want to then reconnect with that. In terms of the relationship that exists between the provincial leadership, the provincial government, and the Royal House, I think we can support that relationship through our own efforts in our own space. And therefore, we believe that the decisions that we have taken here will add rigor to the relationship that already exists, so that if there are any shortfalls in that relationship, maybe our presence will then cover that space. In terms of the Shembe Church, it is we hosted this press briefing at Inanda. This is a historical place. If you just move less than 5 kilometers down this road here, there's a Gandhi settlement. That is where Mahatma Gandhi lived and started the Satyagraha movement. If you move just a few kilometers up, it's where Umqali Wendlela started the Shembe Church. Now, a lot of things have happened, and we are here where the ANC, we could say the ANC was born. The first president lived here. Just up this road here, there's President Seme's house. And just on that same road, there's Ubabu Champion's house. There's Mampet Amkize's house, just along this stretch of road here. Now, we want to connect with that history as a region. And in connecting with that history, does not take for granted the kind of challenges that exist within those structures, be it the Chamber Church, be it the branches of the ANC and all of that. So we want to build unity, and unity cannot only exist in the ANC when it does not exist in society. And therefore, our approach to the Chamber Church specifically is that it's part of our history as a movement, it's part of our history as the people of this region, and we want to reconnect with that. If there are challenges, we'll support the resolution of those challenges without being part of the problem. And that will be our approach. That means if there are two people that are not seeing eye to eye, we'll be coming from a position of saying, what can we do to ensure that whatever problems exist are resolved amicably? So that will be our approach to the church, and we'll be reconnecting with a relationship that existed. You see, one of the challenges that happens when you have a structure like the Regional Executive Committee disbanded and it takes an extended period to put in a new structure is that you lose a lot of work that we have done in the process, because you then have a coordinating structure that is key focus is internal in terms of approach. So it will not be a start of a new relationship. We've long had a relationship with the Chamber Church, and we are going to rekindle that and ensure that we give support where it's necessary. They also give us support, and we move forward. In terms of the electoral, in terms of the votes and the electoral losses that we suffered, I think there's a confluence of factors that combined and gave us the outcomes that we cannot single out one incident or one event as a cause to that. We are evaluating that, and as a new region, we must sit down and be honest in looking at ourselves and looking at the communities that previously voted for us, but this time around decided not to go out and vote. We are encouraged by the fact that they did not go out and vote for other parties, because there is no significant opposition that gained significantly out of our loss. It was just that people stayed at home. It means there's still hope for us if we can go back, because those still remain our loyal voters. If we can do our things right and go back to those people and humble ourselves, we are confident that we'll regain their trust. And they've seen the outcomes of a ANC that has lost the majority that is necessary to run the seat. And therefore, I'm sure that going forward, we are going to prevail. Yabong.
Asvale Babukoke. Asvale Babukoke. You literally be the last one. Last one, Babukoke. Thanks.
ENCA again. Do you think President Cyril Ramaphosa and his collective leadership should get a second term?
No, siyabonga Kok. Siyabonga question Kok. I think, as we said, ANC is a democratic organization. Now, once you start predetermining the outcomes, you are really working against what we need to be doing as the ANC. The process will be discussed. We'll be lobbying each other, we'll engage on the issues. What we may say now, we may say we will want to appreciate and thank all the effort that has been done by the leadership, which is led by Cyril Ramaphosa and his collective. They are doing a great work under the circumstances, and we recommend what they're doing. Then we'll engage when the times comes, and when the national leadership open up the times for discussion, we'll engage at that time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a small announcement. Tomorrow we'll be doing a reclaying here. For those that will be interested to visit us again, we'll appreciate.